So, Mikal Bridges, jumper, he could not hit water if he fell out of a boat to start the season. The ugliest jumper change that we've seen in recent times. And literally got bullied into changing it back. It's been a while since I've seen people just thrash someone's jumper like that out the gate. The first game, everyone was talking trash about his jumper, and now it's back. And look at that. He's hitting shots again.
Definition of if it's not broke, don't fix it.
It's as simple as that. It really
Definition.
is. Like Mikal Bridges legitimately was one of my favorite like players to watch. Like he's a really solid two-way player. And I love watching him for the Suns. Jumper, there was absolutely nothing wrong with his jumper. And then he preseason complete meltdown from the 3-point line. And then first game, just the same, more of the same. Like just there was no shooting from New York outside of a few people, and Mikal Bridges was not helping them at all. And then he changes it back and he's starting to shoot well again.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of overanalyzing. Like, you know, something works, and then you want to try to tweak it to get it to work even better. Mm-hmm. But it's like, man, you got to the league, you're already a little bit under 40%, shooter from the 3-point line. That's what you're brought to the team to do. Make sure you still come to the team with that as one of your strong suits, because
exactly.
You can't shoot. We just gave up Deionte, and now it's looking bad, man.
Yep.
We got the wrong Villanova boy on this squad.
Exactly. It was. I don't know what the idea was, what the plan was. It was like, hey, you know what? Your jumper can improve. Let's throw a hitch in the jumper. Let's make it stop halfway up. Like so many of his shots with that new jumper were short because he left it short at the rim because there's a giant hitch in the middle of it. He stops halfway to the jumper. Like the fluidity of his old jumper was completely gone, and now it's back. And I'm just glad that they didn't try to stick with it because there was nothing wrong in the first place.
No, not at all. I mean, like I said, you're knocking down shots, great two-way player. And if it's really affecting you that bad to where even in preseason games you see it, of course, people don't like to dive too deep into preseason, but once it spills over into the regular season, even if it's just for a couple of quarters in one game, it's like, nah, bro, we gotta get it back right.
Yep. All love to Mikal Bridges. We're both big fans of Mikal Bridges, and both would love to see the Knicks succeed as a team.
Absolutely.
Definitely. As two LA people, the unbiasedness we can say, go Knicks, go Mikal, go do your things. With that, welcome to the Scoops podcast. I'm here with Deionte. A lot of basketball to talk about. The beginning of the season, first podcast of the season. Super excited. A lot of basketball has already been played. A lot to talk about. First thing to cover, of course, our two teams, the Los Angeles Lakers. We're number one in the West. There's not very many times in recent history that we've really we're number one in the West, that I get to go around and say that to people. I'm so used to being in the middle. Like I went to my brother, went to anyone that knows basketball. The first thing I've said to them is, "Hi, Lakers are first in the West." I'm so happy about that. JJ Redick has brought some oomph back to this team. I mean, it's a sight for sore eyes for Laker fans.
It's so unfortunate too because, like we stated earlier, but we'll restate. We don't want to put we don't want to slander Darvin or anything, but it's like it shows a tremendous. I don't want to, because
okay.
He gave it his best bet, but it just shows like a difference between people who know how to put specific players in the right actions and the right sets. And if you just know where to properly place somebody on the basketball floor, it can improve their product, what they give you on the floor. It's amazing to see.
JJ Redick had so many doubters going into the season, so many. I wouldn't call myself a doubter. I'd call myself a skeptic. I was skeptical, obviously. I think a lot of people were. The dude had never coached before, and he's going into one of the like the Lakers are constantly in the headlines. Everything is like a drama when it comes to the Lakers. And there's just so much pressure and expectation to be winning all the time that when you're not, it's a big deal. It's a lot to put on the shoulders of a first time coach. And he's shown out so far. He's been putting people in the right places. There's movement and fluidity to this offense. It's not just watching LeBron James on ball anymore. It's not, it's just night and day from what we saw last season.
And it's also, well, for one, I gotta agree with you. The Lakers head coaching job has to be the most scrutinized position in head coaching jobs in the NBA. I think it's second to none. But it's also important that you realize when you said too, ball's not in Braun's hand all the time. I mean, you got Austin Reeves, he's bringing the ball up. I mean, at some point in time, you see the offense being ran through, which it should be Anthony Davis,
Yep.
and just having like back screen set opposite side for your shooters. And like, you even see people moving without the basketball. I mean, like cutting to the basket. I think I've seen Rui with at least 2 or 3 now, like wide open potential alley backdoor cuts. Some of them went through, some of them didn't, but it's just like the fact that that's there for just easy points. Like you guys struggle to score the basketball. I feel like defense is always a strong suit for you guys. Even when you had Darvin, there were some lapses, but you still had a really good player in Anthony Davis who kind of cleans up a lot of mistakes. But now that you guys can score points easier, it kind of helps the defense because you're always able to get back and kind of get into your sets. And I don't know, man, y'all looking pretty nice to start off the season for sure.
Yeah, no, it is an exciting time for Laker fans for sure. And I feel like this point is said all the time. I feel like I see it every time I open my phone, but I have to say it again. Like the stuff that LeBron is able to do at his age, they went into a back-to-back going to play Sacramento, a team in with Domantas Sabonis, someone that has given us fits just about every time we play him. I'm like, all right, LeBron, you're older. I would we won, like we're undefeated at that point. It's not a big deal to me if LeBron sits that game. Like let's this team there's a the team is reinvigorated. Let's make sure LeBron is good down the stretch when we really need him in the playoffs. But LeBron played. I'm okay, cool. LeBron's gonna play, and then he drops a 30-point triple double. I was like, what the like? It's crazy how he just never ceases to amaze. Never, not once has he not amazed someone.
And I think, I mean, of course, we're talking about arguably the greatest to ever do it, if not second. He only comes behind one person.
Yep.
Bro, I mean, it's incredible. I appreciate though what LeBron did and what he said in one of his post game interviews when he was talking to a reporter, where it's like if he's willing and able, like if he's not injured, he's gonna suit up. And I appreciate that because it's like, bro, it's not no games, especially in the West, are easy. None are given to you. There's no easy nights in the West. I mean, maybe with like 1 or 2 teams, but you really gotta come with your best basketball every night. And I think by him knowing that, and especially over these previous seasons that you guys have had, it's let's take care of everything early. If I need time to rest, there will be stretches, there will be chances, and even maybe toward the end of the season, if we got everything already all locked up, if we're not in
early.
Yeah, exactly. You do your work early, you're able to take those breaks and get prepared for the playoffs. And I think first 3 games in, he's sending that message to everybody on his team, like we're gonna hit the ground running from here. And I think that's also just an extension of what JJ Redick is just preaching to the team. Like we're gonna get stuff done. I think
JJ has given LeBron even some like more. It's like a breath of fresh air. It's given more motivation to a guy that didn't really need it. LeBron knows how to motivate himself, but after 20 years of doing this, 20 years of just of back-to-backs, of just bumping and the grind of a long NBA season, of it just starting, having to prepare for an 82 game season, he looks ready. He looks like he wants to do this. And I mean, what you said about him saying if he's ready and able, he's going to play a game, he's going to play in the game. There's another player in the East that has a different philosophy that we'll talk about later later in the podcast. We'll get into it a bit. But it's just it's fun. It's fun to be a Laker fan right now, to see what JJ has done, to see, Reeves and Dalton connect out there, to see some of the young guys. It's just that the team looks cohesive for once, and it's a good time as a Laker fan.
Yeah, it's real major too. I mean, shout out to Vando. I know he hasn't been on the court in a while, but it's really major that you guys start with all your key players healthy. That's super, bro. That's
Yeah.
real big for you.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Vando, Vanderbilt when he was traded to the Lakers was one of those pieces I was the most excited. It was like him, Gabe Vincent. We got like an influx of players around the time that we got Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt was my favorite part because I'm like, okay, here we go, a versatile defender. We need one of those as the Lakers were currently constructed. And
Mm-hmm.
in that first bit before he got hurt, he played important minutes and he was guarding the other team's best offensive player. I mean, we've missed Vando in the time that he's been gone. I mean, it's been so long at this point. So I mean, I'm itching for the guy to come back and to see what JJ can do with them.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, like you said, he showed his worth on the court. He's one of the best, well, if not, I think your best perimeter defender, to be honest. So, I
I'd agree.
mean, yeah, I mean, his ability to go, his lateral quickness, he can move left and right really fast. Dang there has like a 7 foot wingspan, so he's able to cover up a lot of ground. I mean, he's important for any contending team to have. Like, that's a
Yep.
player that you really need.
Yep. Yep. 100%. Moving to the other Los Angeles team, the Los Angeles Clippers. We got the number one fan in the house.
Whoop,
Um,
whoop.
man, Zubac has been playing so well. I don't know. I'm someone. One of the Clippers broadcasters were talking about it. I mean, he's in just about his prime at 27 years old. Like he's been playing some great basketball. Him and James Harden, that high pick and roll has been tearing people to shreds.
It's amazing, bro. It's amazing to see his development too, because watching Zoo since when we got him from you guys, I think back in what was it, 2019, 2018, something like
Around
that.
there, yeah.
Um, his ability to read the floor and see what's going on in front of him has drastically improved. Like when he sets that high screen and roll for Harden and they trap Harden, he's open at like the free throw line, extended maybe a foot above the free throw line. He catches it. He turns, and within those 2 seconds, he surveys the floor. Okay, I got a shooter there. I got a shooter there. If they're gonna shift over this way, I can go directly in for a dunk. Like, bro, he's reading the floor and he's reacting, and it's just like it's amazing to watch. I'm not gonna lie. I love to see his progression.
No, I see it too, 100%. He iced the last game you guys played, doing exactly what you said. The
Yeah,
double came to Harden, dumped down to Zoo. Zoo was just a little bit below the free throw line, and he stopped. The defense shifted out towards the shooters, and it was literally just a dribble and a dunk.
and a
Game
dunk.
over. Like
Simple, simplest thing.
and he's earning his living so far this season off of doing that. Gets the ball around the free throw line. What do I do? Do I have space? Here comes the baby hook. Can I drive? I'm going to the basket. Is anyone open on the? Do I see Norman Powell in the corner? Dump off to him. Him and James Harden have been the driving forces of your offense.
Yeah, but on the flip side though, that defense, bro, we are the third best defensive team in the league through the first 3 games we played. I can't remember a Clippers squad. I think it might have been the 2019-2020 season. The last time where at the beginning of the season we were ranked this high on defense. Like we have mobile players now. We have younger players who are willing to really get into someone's chest and like cause turnovers. Bro, Chris Dunn is an amazing
Yeah,
defender.
a great perimeter defender.
Amazing defender. And to be fair, I didn't even really know he was that. I knew he was a good player. I watched him a little bit in Utah last year. Bro, his impact is way more than the stat line. Like he's one of those players.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
he might only have 6 points, 8 rebounds, but he'll have 3 steals. They don't count deflections. He'll probably have 5 deflections that might have led to a steal or led to a turnover. And then he'll have like a block or two. And I don't know, man, he's just everywhere. Having him and oh my God, Derrick Jones
Derek
Jr.
Jones.
on the court
Yep.
at the same time, bro, it's amazing.
You may have lost Paul George, but you have picked up a ton of length and a ton of defense this season. It'll be interesting to see how the team looks whenever Kawhi Leonard comes back, because that's another two-way player, obviously a great defender when Kawhi is healthy. I think the biggest question is, can Zoo keep it up? How consistent is James Harden going to be on the offensive end? Because that's your big three right there when healthy. It's going to be Kawhi, it's going to be Zoo, and it's going to be Harden. It's going to be Kawhi doing
Absolutely.
his little mid range game, and it's going to be the pick and roll with Zoo and with Harden. I mean, Norman Powell, when he goes off and decides to give you a 20-point game, that's gravy. I've loved Norman Powell since his Raptor days. So watching him give you guys heavy minutes has been fun. So I think you guys are very strong defensively. I guess I have a few more questions on the offensive end.
Yeah, no, and I mean, and being a Clipper fan, watching the way that we're playing basketball right now, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm cool with however long it takes Kawhi to like do what he got to do. Like I know that's our if we have any anticipation on getting past the first round, let alone Western Conference Finals chip, whatever, is gonna come through him. But like I'm a big fan in the team playing non like star basketball. Like I know James Harden's a star, don't get me wrong, but James Harden can also move the basketball, and then the movement that he creates becomes contagious with everybody else. And the
Yeah.
ball is kind of just finding everybody's hands, and everybody's able to get a decent look. You feel me? And they're able to get their game going. And I'm always a believer that when everybody's locked in on the offense, when they're getting touches, it locks them in on defense that much more. So it's like I'm a big fan of that, and when you have two ISO dominant players in Kawhi and Paul George, at sometimes, it will be a lot of standing around and people aren't as engaged. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
liking what I'm seeing right now. But we need, as far as on the offensive end goes, we need more production out of like somebody like a Terrence Mann. Like I think with Y being out, that's somebody who should average 13 points a game at bare minimum. Like the
Mm-hmm.
shot attempts are there, the looks are going to be there because they're gonna sag off you to help. Especially when James and Zoo does the high pick and roll. So, bro, you got to be ready. You got to knock down your shots. It's pretty simple.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it like you said, the movement is there without Kawhi, and I mean Paul George isn't there anymore, but with Kawhi being out, the ball is moving a bit more. I think it was Norman Powell that said something after the Paul George trade that he was like more people on the team are good. It just means more touches for everyone else.
Addition by
Um,
subtraction.
yeah. So I think you're right, especially in the beginning, in the early parts of the season. I think it's really good for the team to get more. Everyone else gets more touches. Everyone else let's see where offense can come from outside of Kawhi Leonard. Then let's integrate Kawhi Leonard back in and make it all gel together. And that's
Yeah.
not usually an easy task, but you guys also have one of the best coaches in the league in Ty Lue, and especially in terms of being able to make adjustments. Ty Lue is great at he's a good adjustments coach, and so I think that's something he'll be able to adjust to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as Kawhi gets, reintegrated into the offensive scheme, I mean, they're not going to be using him as a super large workforce, throughout the season anyways. I think there's going to be a lot of progression with him to see where he's at, how he feels while he's on the court, how he feels, after games. Like it's going to be a lot of that. So I think he's going to get comfortable, get his shots where he's supposed to get his shots, like how he normally would. But I just really like to see the ball moving the way it is. Like I think that should be something that we keep our top tier like importance of our team.
I agree wholeheartedly. Um, Switching gears to another team in the West, Dallas. I wanted to talk a bit about Klay Thompson's new home because there was a lot of skepticism onto how Klay Thompson was going to adjust. He had a rough year last year with the Warriors, in a new home. All off season, we've been hearing nothing except Klay Thompson talking about how excited he is for the new season, how playing in Dallas has given him like a new, like his love for basketball has been awakened. Like he was super excited, and I think everyone else was really excited. Okay, let's see what Klay can do here. And I mean, he's been playing solid basketball. It's been nothing but praise from his Dallas teammates, from the organization, and vice versa. And I think it's a really good fit for them. They need someone that can hit the long ball, and Klay Thompson is one of the best in history at doing so. He has his woes. I feel like even in his prime, Klay Thompson had his moments where he would just shoot not what his shooting would just his touch would be gone for a period of time. Um, which is something that I mean he's getting older, he's adjusting. Now he's in a new place. I'm excited to see how the season progresses for him. I mean obviously I want to see that keep happening. Like that was the big thing for Dallas in the finals was a lack of consistent 3-point shooting. But now you see Luka, he's scanning, oh, there's Klay, dump to Klay, three is up. Like it's a new weapon in the arsenal of Dallas, where they already had a ton of weapons in Luka and in Kyrie. So it's exciting to see this new team and their new makeup with Klay and some of the new role players that they threw on their bench.
Yeah, and I mean, I even think it's, you know, I think I had some skepticism about it as well coming into the season, which is only because he's played in Golden State what 11 years,
Yeah.
10, 11 seasons, so it's like anybody's gonna think okay that's super that's a big change. Like you never know where the player's mental might be. Like you never know how that their psyche how they deal with that. But I think he came in and he fit in really well. And like with Luka being at the helm of the offense, the operator of the offense, he's gonna generate open looks for his shooters. Any shooter who's ever probably played with Luka got a good number of like open looks, uncontested shots. And we talking Klay, we talking one of the top 5, top 6 shooters to ever touch a basketball.
Yep.
Bro, that's all he needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a big breath of fresh air, because I think in the Warriors system, it's like, all right, there's Steph, there's Klay. So it's like if we're ever gonna do anything, we need both Steph and Klay to be on. And then anybody else kind of around them kind of just fits and they get it in where they get it in. But
Yep.
I don't know, I think it was just a point in Klay's career where it was like he can still do it, but it's just not going to be as consistent. Like we're going to see some pretty bad performances from Klay, but I don't think the Mavs aren't going to be so heavily reliant on his performances the way that the Warriors would have been.
Yep.
So it won't, the backlash maybe I'm trying to think of, or like just
it eases some of the pressure off of
Klay. It won't be as bad
because he's at most the third option now behind Luka and Kyrie.
Yeah.
And he was a second option in Golden State, which is a lot more pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I just think with having less pressure on you and you go out and just perform the way you've always performed, which is I'm gonna get my shots. I might miss, but I have a shooting mentality to keep shooting the basketball. It's gonna be special for them. But like you said, though, it's all about consistency. Like, just got to see how long can Klay continue to be a really, really good version of himself. And defensively, I did hear him mention how he's ready to lock in, engage back on the defensive side, which is it's cool to hear, but you are a little older. You've had an operation on your knee, so
yep.
It's gonna take some time.
Yeah, I mean, and the biggest thing that you're going to bring to this team is your shooting. And Clay has always been one of those guys that his organization believes in that shot. Like, oh, you missed it. Okay, let's go get the rebound, reload, shoot again. Like he's one of those guys that the team wants to see him shooting the basketball because they believe it's going to go in. I believe it's going to go in. Like he's the stroke is pure. It's always been pure. It's always been one of the nicest shots in basketball.
One of
So
the
I mean,
prettiest jump
let the
shots
thing
ever.
fly. That's what the team needs from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely,
And
man.
on the flip side, the team that he left, the Warriors, there I feel like there's I mean, Steph just went down with the ankle injury. They said it's not serious. So he's not going to miss a ton of time. But
Yeah,
I
he's gonna get
mean,
reevaluated on Friday, I believe it is. So yeah, it won't be.
Friday.
Hopefully, it won't be out too long.
So I mean, without Steph, they're obviously they're going to struggle a bit to find points. But even with Steph, it's like they're Steve Kerr is running a 12-man rotation. It kind of just feels like they're trying to find their identity plus Steph. Like Steph is their main identity. He's their main guy. But what are you outside of Steph?
To be fair, and I was kind of happy about it when we played against them. Not happy to see Steph go down, of course, absolutely not, because Steph's one of the best. I want to see the best play whenever they can. But I saw Wiggins like look like the championship version of himself. Like
Oh
I think
yeah,
Wiggins put
he
up
had a game.
30 points that game. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a
And
game.
I'm just like, bro, that's kind of all they need out of you, bro. I mean, not 30 a night, don't get me wrong, but like if you can find yourself to be a 20-point scorer next to Steph, bro, and then some of the additions, like I like Melton. I love Buddy Hield for them
Yeah,
because they're all just shooters and in constant movement. Bro, like you can really help out. I am a firm believer though that a move is gonna need to be made. I don't think with the current roster construction is gonna work out. I know we're
agreed.
only yeah, nah. I know we're only like 2 or 3 games in. I believe the Warriors are 3 games in now. Jonathan Kaminga's been stinking up the place. Hasn't looked good. I'm sorry. The hair color isn't helping. And then the
Okay.
performance being so low, bro,
Yeah,
it's like he has such a high value to his name because what he potentially can be. And I think if he's not gonna if you really don't see him being a part of the long term future of your team and gonna pay him
move him.
to yeah, just move him. Cause you're gonna get something back. You're gonna get some decent quality assets. Hell, you could have got Lowry Markkinen or Paul George in the deal this summer
Yeah.
had you wanted to give away you know, had you wanted to give him away. And so I hope that doesn't bite them.
I think a lot of
No,
teams would be happy to take him too, for sure. Like Kaminga,
absolutely.
he is an incredibly athletic player, and he's playing when he's on, he's playing good basketball. He's a good he's proven to he can be an important part of a team.
Man, he's proven he can be elite on both sides of the basketball. And
Yeah.
it's hard to find somebody who can be elite, not just good, but elite at
Yep.
both sides of the basketball. It's hard to
Yeah.
find that.
It'll be the Warriors have been for a long time a top-notch organization. It'll be interesting to see what their next move is from here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's maximizing the opportunity that you have with Steph on your roster. Like everything that you do should be to make sure that Steph has the best chance to win now because you're not going to get another generational talent like Steph.
Agreed.
And then post Steph, as of right now, we don't really have any. You don't really have anybody to build around because Kaminga isn't showing you enough to think that you can do that with him. So,
And no one
I
else can
think
carry the team. Everyone else can be a part of the team, but they don't really have anyone that can carry it.
not at all. You don't have anybody who can shoulder an offense like Stephen Curry. So,
Exactly.
I don't know, man. I say sell while you have some players hot, and you hope you strike the iron while it's hot, man. You got to do something.
Yeah. No, you sell high. Sell
You have
high.
to.
So yeah, we'll keep tabs on the Warriors, see where they go. The last thing I wanted to talk about was we haven't yet discussed the Embiid comments that he made in the offseason. I mean, Embiid still hasn't played a game this season. Uh, I mean, and the Sixers have a pretty decent backup in Andre Drummond, but I mean, no Embiid yet, no Paul George yet either. But Embiid's comments of saying that he will not play in back to backs this season. I think it's an incredibly wild statement to make. It's an unnecessary statement to make. Like no one needed to know that. There's ways to go about sitting back to backs without announcing it to the world. I feel like it's a bad look on Embiid. I feel like it's a bad look on the Sixers. I would think that the Sixers would be aware of this decision to sit him in back to backs before it was made, and it didn't need to be announced on any level. So it's just a bad look all around. I mean, I'm sure everyone's heard Charles Barkley's his big comments on it that went viral. Um, and again, there's a better way to go about it. Like you're paid to play 80. You have an 82 game season. You have a contract to play as many of those games as you can. And I mean, injuries happen. I get it, and I get you're coming off a big injury right now, but fans pay good money to come see you play games, and you're supposed to be one of the most dominant big men in basketball, but you can't play in any back to backs. Like it's not a good look in any way.
Yeah, there's a few things that come to my mind as soon as we mention that. One is, bro, if you knew that your injury was that severe, I understand playing for a gold medal. I completely understand what that means for somebody wanting to get a gold medal because it is like a once in a lifetime opportunity for some people. But you shouldn't have played
Yeah.
because your obligation to your team is way more important than what your obligation was for Team USA. So that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing. And then on the second hand of back to back, I'm sure when Kawhi Leonard, and I got to use him as an example of poster boy for injuries because he just is. I'm sure in multiple places, multiple teams that he's been on, the goal has been, okay, yeah, he's probably not going to play any back to backs. You never make it public though. Everybody's already going to assume you're not going to play back to backs because you're injury prone, you're still nursing an injury, whatnot. But making that public, bro, I don't know. I don't know. That's a weak statement to come from such an elite player.
Yeah, to come from one of the best players in basketball, like, and a healthy Joel Embiid is a top 5 to 10 player in basketball, healthy and on, and playing the best basketball Joel Embiid can play on both ends of the floor. There aren't a lot of people that can do the things Joel can do. I know a lot of people go at him for foul baiting and for just trying to get calls all the time. But when he wants to put his head down and get a bucket, he can go get it. And again, it's just it's I hate listening to old heads talk about how soft this generation is, but this is just, and go ahead and put a line on the chalkboard for the old heads, because I mean he's kind of proving their point, is he not?
No, he is. You never see anybody in the 90s or in the 80s, even the early 2000s. Never going to see anybody say, oh, yeah, I'm going to sit out back to backs. Never. You're not. And like you said, hate to hear your heads because they always, reference back to there as well as toughness and whatnot. But yeah, bro, that just looks like you aren't. I think it's more mental toughness than it is physical toughness. I think he
100%.
just, yeah, I think it's him and the organization thinking, okay, maybe we just try to ease him into the season, saying regular season accolades don't matter anymore. It's all about the big thing at the end. But I don't know. I think if you don't have enough time to gel with the players that are on the court and to really get a good cohesion with your teammates, how far are you going to go in the playoffs? You got to
Agreed.
be comfortable. You got to be battle tested, and that only comes in the regular season.
Yep.
And if you're missing every back to back, or you're missing the second half of every back to back, or you're missing the first half of a back to back, it's a lot of basketball time that you're not out there with your teammates. And I
Yeah,
just don't think that's good.
I agree with you 100%. And I mean, back to backs, they prep you for how the playoffs is just basketball game after basketball game after basketball game. It is a grind at the end, and I mean, the regular season, it's a lot of games. I mean, there's been so many discussions about how many games and possibly shortening it and all that stuff. I get it. I get it. Indeed, it's a lot, but it's what you sign up for. It's part of the job description. Go out there and do your job.
Yep. And the East isn't a weak conference.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. So, I mean, another team slash player to keep tabs on, especially in terms of health. I mean, I like a lot of the players in the Sixers. I'm a giant Tyrese Maxey fan. And I mean, I like Kyle Lowry. This is an interesting group of people, and I want to see them play well. But I mean, we'll see how far they get with their star players being out as much as it seems like they're going to be out.
Yeah, you can only go as far as the top two carry you, man.
Exactly. That's it. That is all the time we have on this episode of the Scoops podcast. Thank you, Deionte, for joining me.
Absolutely, man.
I mean, basketball has just started, and we got a ton more basketball coming. So we got a lot to talk about, and hopefully we'll drag Ahmad into our next episode.
Absolutely, brother.
Shout out to Ahmad.
Scoops. Ooh.